Howdy, tabletop RPG fans. Thank you for supporting this channel. I'm Wranglemate, Grand Poobah of Game Design, and this Reviews Day topic is about Game Master tips. Being a DM or a GM can feel like a daunting task. There's a responsibility to the group for assuming the mantle of this role. Many of our core RPG books do a poor job prepping the DM or GM and the tips and tricks of this role. For over 40 years now, I've learned from the examples of other DMs, trial by fire, and by scouring the various books that help. Here are some of the best books on being a GM or DM for your own role-playing games. The emphasis here for all these books is a happy GM makes for an enjoyable game. For my own use, I'd take the best of any of these and add them to my own Dungeon Master's toolbox. First on this list is Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master by Michael E. Shea, aka Flourish. Published in 2018, it's about 96 pages long. The quality of art and the amazing number of pages are helped along by almost 7,000 backers on Kickstarter. It is an adamantite seller on DriveThruRPG. That is the top 0.08% of the entire RPG catalog. Only 74 titles in the tens of thousands of wonderful RPGs. What I find truly amazing is Mike's telemetry-based approach to making these books even better. Telemetry-based means he's using analytics from his DM surveys to drive his game designs and make sure his books are addressing what DMs need most. Sections include preparing for your game, running your game, and thinking about your game. While I like the focus and emphasis of these sections, I missed the 12-step template from Sly Flourish's Dungeon Master Tips book, or the much simplified 3-step template from Sly Flourish's The Lazy Dungeon Master book. Instead, each chapter has various checklists, and the checklists for reducing the checklists included in this book that provide for some of the best and most practical DM tips ever collected. The appendices include the results of massive surveys on DMs and their prepping along with additional reading. Second on the list is the No-Prep Gamemaster by Matt Davids. It was published in 2019 and is about 80 pages long. Subtitle, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Random Tables. This is one of the few books by Matt that isn't jam-packed with random tables. Instead, it is a good collection of his insights into why he makes random table books and how he no-preps his own adventures. His goal was to relieve pressure and make being a GM fun again. It has 3 sections: Arcana, 3 Keys, and Arrows in the Quiver. Arcana is a bit of the history into Matt's past, along with defining the role of the GM, and finally, the mindset of the no-prep approach, which sets up the 3 keys, the formula for no-prep GMing. Fill yourself with stories, don't set dungeons in stone, and use random tables. Basically, by Matt explaining how he evolved from his original prep methods to his no-prep methods, he establishes that the no-prep method allows for more creativity, more flexibility, and helps you improve your improvisation skills. Basically sets down the idea of setting the dungeon in stone means that your adventures aren't nearly as flexible, and that by filling yourself with lots of stories, watching movies, reading books, and generally understanding how writers write stories in the first place, you become a better GM. You can take the random characters and the random situations that the players get themselves into and fold in a bit of a story from somewhere else, an encounter, a person, treasure items that you've experienced before because of your vast storytelling and story understanding, and wrap that into these on-the-fly, no-prep adventures. And of course, talking about using random tables, this is why Matt makes as many random table books as he does. The last section, Arrows in the Quiver, is a collection of useful guidelines to help make games easier to prep and run, including interacting more with the players so you have less to do as a GM. These tips include: don't create things the players will never see, keep a list of handy names for the people they will meet, harvesting content from modules and setting books, and many more useful tips. Third on the list is Robin's Laws of Good Game Mastering by Robin Laws, which was published in 2002 and comes in at 33 pages. As always, Robin gets right to the point and makes sure you get a lot of information in a concise format. These tips are targeted to experienced GMs. Topics include the great immutable ironclad law. I'll leave that secret for the reader to explore. Knowing your players, including the player types and character goals. Picking your rule set, matching the RPG system to your personal and setting style, including a terrific discussion about crunchiness, campaign and adventure design, being spontaneous and improvising, and the ultimate dilemma, reconciling the tough issues of different players and goals at the table. Fourth on the list is The Lazy Dungeon Master by Michael E. Shea, aka Sly Flourish, published in 2012 and 56 pages long. A tips and trick book that focuses on the way Mike likes to dungeon master his games. The mantra of The Lazy Dungeon Master, prepping can be fun, but it can also be a ton of work that is never seen by the players. This section includes some terrific insight and help to focus on being creative. Being lazy is hard. It can be difficult to let go and build your creative muscle. The danger of over-preparation is that your efforts to prep won't survive the will of the players. 5-minute adventure preparation simplifies the 12-step process of the Sly Flourish's Dungeon Master tips to a simple 3 questions. Sections include beginning your adventure, the 3 paths, character-driven stories, tying PCs to the story, keeping the end in sight, world building through relationships, building from frameworks, colliding worlds, and 6 traits about your game world. Other sections include tools of the Lazy Dungeon Master, reskinning, lazy encounter design, lazy treasure and experience, using published material, delegation, improving improvisation, immerse yourself in fiction, and take what works. The last section is 3 appendices, including random tables with useful stuff, a Dungeon Master survey, and responses from 10 other DMs about how they prep for their games. Fifth on the list is Gamemastering Secrets, 2nd edition by Aaron Rosenberg, published 2002 and 167 pages long, winner of the 2003 Origins Award. It uses the D20 and OGL along with the Fudge system and is published by Grey Ghost Games. There's a lot going on in this book. 6 chapters with incredible tips from Aaron, dozens and dozens of Dork Tower comics from John Kovalik, and 17 secrets from RPG design masters who contributed their articles to this work along with their bios. Many of these great designers I'm happy to have met at DunderCon and other San Francisco Bay Area gaming cons. Even the layout was done by my friend Mark Arsenal. Aaron's sections include Introduction, First-Timers Quick Tips, 8 useful points for new GMs, and then before starting, running, and closing the game. The Secrets from the Masters is a joy to read. Well explained and helpful advice on all GM topics. 6th on the list is Gamemastering by Dominic Wasch. It was published in 2010 and is about 160 pages long, published in Germany and translated to English. If there was a textbook for game masters, this would be it. Well-organized sections cover all aspects of game mastering. The In a Nutshell sections help summarize the content that is discussed. The visuals and layouts are terrific and help make the tough topics much easier to grasp. Sections include GM tasks, group dynamics, mastering a session, prep, adventure themes, and more tips. Of particular interest are player types, improvisation, types of adventures, plot structures, and dealing with risks at the table. While I particularly like this book, it isn't at the top of my list. There are dozens of very good and helpful DM and GM tricks, tips, and tools books. These are just 6 of the best that I own. The fact is, each of these books is very good, and it wasn't easy to rate them in order, first choice to last choice. Each DM and GM will also have their own styles and areas they need to improve. Hopefully, this will help you pick the right books for your own collection. I've only barely scratched the surface of useful DM and GM tools with my videos, and I hope to talk more about improvisation and storytelling in future episodes. If you decide that any of these books are important to add to your own library, please use the links provided in the description below to purchase. The affiliate fees won't cost you any extra, and it greatly helps me when you buy something to support this channel. Also remember to like, subscribe, and share, because that helps too. This episode is brought to you by Kaboomkin, the smaller, faster, funnier RPG of cartoon, fairy tale, post-apocalypse mayhem. It's time to blow stuff up. Get it now at www.kaboomkin.com. Thank you all for watching this episode. Hit like, subscribe, or ring the bell, or Booger will get you. If you want to see more videos like this, go to hopspush.com and buy an RPG or t-shirt. Do good, annoy evil, and bye-bye.